I'm a nice man. That's why I do it. I'm a nice man. If I like you, I want you to have fun. I understand that I'm relatively, I'm not rich, but I'm relatively fortunate financially, and I'm happy to pay for it because I want you to enjoy your time, and it's my gift to you. That's one thing. The people who I hire to work for me, working for me is exceptionally, I'm not going to sit and pretend it's easy, because everything good in life comes at the end of difficulty. So I have to find people who understand that. Like this ain't, I'm not just like, oh, send me your CV and okay, maybe I'll send your CV, we'll test. No, I don't want bumblecluts. I can't stand that. Like, I can't have bumblecluts working for me. Like the people who work for me have to be capable of dealing with the realities of Earth. Realities of Earth is that we need to make shitloads of money and we need to do it now. And if you fuck with me too tough, I'll punch you in the face. That's who I am as a man. So the people who work for me need to understand that. So it's my team it's a very unique individuals. But anyone who can work with me for long enough is going to leave with the life skills it takes to be. Like, making money really isn't that. What's difficult is finding people you can make money with who aren't fucking. This is the only problem I have left in my life, is finding staff who aren't ridiculous. It's super hard. It's super hard. Like really, it's genuinely super hard. So if like when people sit and go, oh yeah, and I don't know, like everyone has different philosophies to business. My philosophy to business is probably completely different than everyone else's. But when I see like people just, oh, I've put a team together in 2 weeks and there's 10 of us, I'm sitting there thinking, if you found 10 people in 2 weeks, 9 are shit. Fact.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, it's probably 10. Like, I don't care what's on their CV. They're shit, you know? So it's finding good people. Like, I don't hire people because I have a gap. I hire people based on who they are and I'm finding it. So if I find someone now who I think is good, I'll hire them anyway. I'll find them a job later. If their attitude's right and they understand, then I'll hire them. I'll find a job. As opposed to thinking, I need someone for this, let me find someone. I do it the other way, you know? But it's so rare I find people who genuinely understand the mission. It's called. You can't be lord of all beasts on the land, fishes in the sea. You can't pay your way. This is the thing, man. I scroll up and down on Twitter and I see people like, oh, I don't know, my basketball game. I won my basketball game. I won my jiu-jitsu competition, even jiu-jitsu, which is bullshit. It's a watered down fight, but I'll carry on. My basketball game or whatever. All sport ever was a replacement for war. That's all it ever was. Like there was wars between tribes of people. They'd have a fight. And the people who didn't die was in charge. But then they sit there and go, you know what, instead of killing each other, let's just play this game, which is kind of like a replay. You know, we'll play football or something, or a wrestling match, and then no one has to die to who knows. So that's all competition's ever been. And fighting is the purest form of competition. So like, if once you've been a fighter, what other competition matters? Like, how can I possibly have interest in putting a ball in a net when I've been smashing people's skulls in for 15 years? Like, who gives a fuck about putting a ball in a net? Who cares? Who cares if I win? Who cares if I put the ball in net 20 times and he puts it in 0? So I didn't whoop his ass in front of his wife. I didn't do shit. Nothing. So like, and on top of that, you add in the element that fighting is a genuine adrenaline rush because it's life or death. So then you add in the boredom element. Like, what in life is entertaining after years of professional fighting? You think I can go to the movies and be like, wow, great movie, man. That was wow. Did I ever read a fucking comic book with a dork pain? I make millions of dollars and I'm still bored. I'm still sitting there. I can make $100,000 a day and be like, whatever. But if I win a fight, it's different because it's life or death. I survived. When the feeling of a fight being over is like getting you all clear from cancer. Like imagine you got like a cancer diagnosis and you have 0% chance of survival, 50-50. And for 3 months, 5 hours a day, you're at the doctor's doing the best you can to try and survive. And then bang, it's over. Yes, all clear. It's that level of like relief and joy. You can't replicate it with normality. There's no replication for it. So when you retire, you're just like, oh, this is why all fighters, when they retire, end up depressed or blowing their brains out. This is like, look, nothing in life compares to any level. When you're a fighter, you raise the bar so high that you realize how shit normal life is. Shit is boring, and nothing interesting ever happens. Ever. Nothing interesting happens. You eat, you see your aunt now and again. Bullshit. Bullshit, you know? Or like, and when I see people on Twitter like so excited about, hey, fucking Little League, whatever, we're done. If you knew about genuine competition and genuine sport and genuine adversity and genuine life or death and genuine grit and genuine pain If you knew about the genuine shit, you'd understand genuine joy, and you realize that everything else is just a cheap imitation. So that's why I still feel like I need to fight. But my head tells me, Andrew, you're a fucking multimillionaire with every supercar under the sun, living in a mansion with other shit to do besides train all day and fight some 24-year-old psycho from Kazakhstan. So it's complicated.
Yeah, man.
That's my answer. Well, that's a good way to be. The problem is, when you fight at my level, when you get punched in the face, you can't really punch back that well. So, like, with me, like, this is another thing about it. Fighting, most people's experiences of fighting are purely emotional, like you just described there. I've never really been nervous in a street fight because I'm angry, or there's a reason where he's touched my girlfriend or he's pissed me off. But I was scared before every single fight because there's no emotionality in it. You understand where I'm coming from? It's like, on this date, you fight this man here. And you know for 3 months he's dedicated his life to being as dangerous as possible to hurt you. And you've done the same thing. But there's none of that, there's no anger. So it's a business transaction. And for that reason, it makes it far more daunting. And of course, the consequence of fighting is different. Ronaldo how many games has Ronaldo lost? I don't even know. I'm sure he's lost plenty. How many times has his team lost? Loads. How many tennis matches has Nadal lost? Loads. I mean, he wins, but he's lost plenty. Because that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as a fighter, you lose once. Ooh, lost. They're going to remind you of that shit. Everyone's going to remind you of that shit forever. Doesn't matter if you've won 1,000 times. You lost once. Remember when that guy kicked your ass? It's like it's high pressure. It's high stakes. It's like the highest stakes game you can play. You can get knocked out and never wake up again. It's the highest stakes game. It's like playing a video game on the hardest possible difficulty for 15 years and then playing the same game on super, super easy. It's just not fun anymore, you know? That's I can't explain. There's a reason why fighters fight, and there's a reason why it's so difficult to quit. It's a reason why none of them retire when they should, because it's very difficult. At least, I mean, the reason he sold grills is because the majority of fighters just end up broke. Like, I know for a fact the only reason I can retire, or I have retired, is because I can supplement and distract myself from my nagging feeling to fight by doing crazily expensive things. If I was still living a normal life, there's no way on God's green earth I would have retired, or could have retired. Even if I was losing every single fight and getting my ass kicked, even if I was injured and I didn't have it anymore, I would still have to fight to stay sane. But now, every time I feel like fighting, I can get in a McLaren 720S and drive like a fucking psychopath across Europe through the Alps. And I can slam 10 supermodels. And I can drink, champagne. I can spend 20 grand a night in the club. And if I do that often enough, I can distract myself from feeling like fight for a while. But it's expensive. So the main reason I can retire is because my life outside of fighting is so exceptional. But if it was ordinary, I would be 1 trillion%. Which also carries guilt, because then I feel like, am I wasting my youth? Am I wasting my powers? Am I just fucking around? But then there's another side of it. It's like, well, no, because you're putting all your powers into generating cash. You're doing exceptional. So there's no easy answer. I don't fucking. Should have done it way sooner. I guess what happened is people for a long time were asking for my help in various regards. Doesn't matter. I mean, my first ever thing started with like the PhD, so it doesn't matter if it was about girls or making money or whatever. People were constantly asking for my help, and my attitude was fucked. And then I got, after like the 1,000th request, I kind of thought, you know what? Maybe I should stop being such a dick. So I'll help these. Like I genuinely started all these this whole enterprise from a philanthropic point of view. Like I consider myself a philanthropist. Like, okay, everyone's asking me. I ran a webcam company. I had 75 girls work for me. Everyone understands. I also understand female nature. Everyone's asking me about girls. I've been asked this 1,000 times. Well, I don't want to repeat myself 1,000 times, so let me just make a video explaining basically all I know. And fuck it, I'll charge some money for it. So that's kind of how it started. It was much more like, well, people keep asking, and I put the PhD course together. And that's still on the website now, Tate.com. It explains everything I learned about women from start to finish when I made my millions of dollars with webcam. If anyone's watching this doesn't know I ran a webcam company, that's the whole story with itself. But yeah, so that was it. It kind of started from a philanthropic point of view, and people kept asking me different questions. People kept asking me for different things, and I've just basically been giving people what they wanted in some regards. I mean, I'm very understanding of the fact that, and this is not bravado, this is reality. I'm very understanding of the fact that I live the stereotypical dream of most males from shallow point. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect or my life's perfect. I'm saying if you just ask a man on a very shallow surface level, what do you want? They're going to say, well, Lambo and a mansion and a bunch of chicks. And it's basically what they're all going to say. Like no guy's going to say no to that. I'm sure everyone wants more than that. They may want a family or whatever else below that. That's a good surface level bullshit start, you know, a very shallow start. And I know I live that life. I know I promote that. So a lot of people are attracted to that. And then they want to know, you know, how to do this, how to do that, blah, blah, blah. So people were asking me, and I just thought, okay, I'll put it all together because people were asking. And it kind of became what it was. And when I first started it all, I wasn't like passionate about it in any way. I mean, it made me some money, but I already had money, so much. But then like when the war room started happening and the war room summit started happening and so much crazy, amazing shit started happening, then it became super cool. It's super cool. People join the war room and now like their lives have totally changed. They've gone from making no money to like $10,000 a month in line. Their lives are totally different. Returning up to my events, like they got cash. It's just like, it's fucking nuts. So then it became, you know, and even a pessimistic bastard like me can see how cool it is to help them, you know? So like, it is super cool. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started. I was just following, the market asked and I delivered. Yes, that's kind of how it was. Because for a long time, I was just bragging. I was just on Twitter bragging. I was going on Twitter every day. 10 hot chicks, Lambo, champagne. I was just bragging. I was just flexing on the broke boys. And then the broke boys started saying, how do you flex so hard? I said, well, I'll teach you. That's right, exactly. I was just flexing on the broke boys. That's how it started. Oh no, I've always been. There's a lot more to me than that anyway. It's just what I use. It's just what I call Twitter. But yeah, I mean, the war room is certainly a lot of people. The war room's grown into something absolutely amazing. I can't talk about too much about like, who's inside and what happens, but it really is fantastic inside. There's no group like it, and there's people inside there who are in Neil Strauss's mastermind for 20 grand a year, all this crazy shit. They're all saints, you know. So it has turned into an amazing thing. But yeah, it all just kind of started with bragging, and then as things grew, like obviously if I'm in the war room, I get my 100% my personality, so they need a lot more than that. But with Twitter, I'm very surface level, I guess sometimes. But the reason, I guess a lot of the reason, my number one problem with Twitter isn't even my ideological adversaries, really, because I understand that. I think Twitter, that's why I am how I am. I don't think, and the reason I was flexing so hard on the broke is just to prove I was legit. Because Twitter's full of fakes, man. Twitter's full of fakes. And like, there's so many people on there just pretending to be something they're not. So one of the reasons I was so adamant to just show off was to show I'm not full of shit. Because most people on Twitter, especially in the red pill manosphere, day game, they are full of shit. And they're like anon accounts. Hey, just pulled a 9.3, banged her first night because my frame was so solid. It's just like, bro, you're a fucking geek. You're a geek. You're a fucking geek. You didn't pull no 9.3 from a mall in Winnipeg, Minnesota. A 9 is on a billionaire's boat. That's where a 9 is. And she's got 1 million followers on Instagram, minimum. You're telling me you pulled a 9 from a fucking coffee shop in your Toyota Corolla? Shut the fuck up. They're just fucking nerds. And then all these guys are giving out advice on girls. I don't even have to name names, just loads of them. I'm fucking Mr. This, I'm Mr. That, giving out advice on girls. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, you got a divorce, and you got a divorce. So you know so much about fucking girls, all your women have left you, which is fine. But you obviously don't know that much. Like, you all got fucking left. I had 75 women make me millions of dollars. Who's more qualified? Genuinely, who's more qualified? So I was like, okay. So when I'm posting me with all these hot chicks, the main point of it is just saying, well, where's all these other dudes' chicks? You're fucking red pill, Mr. Day Game, Manosphere. We're all fucking frauds. I'm the most legit guy on that website. And just the reality of it, I'm the most legit guy on Twitter. So a lot of the flexing is just proof because I don't want anyone to think I'm full of shit, and I'm not. Everything I've ever said is true. Anyone who's ever met me has said, yeah, you actually downplayed this. I know. And the whole fucking sphere, our sphere, has a couple good guys in it and a shitload of fakers. Shitloads. You know as well as me, man. You read through some and you're just like, whatever. Like, I can smell bullshit from a million miles. So everyone's just frauds on there. So that's one of the main reasons I came through flexing. You know, and had to obsess it. It's just because there's no other way to prove true what's the word? It's the only way to certify yourself is absolutely congruent to the truth. So show evidence, show your receipts. And that's the war room mantra, show your receipts. I've done this, show me. Oh, next week, no, fuck off. I mean, I'm not the reality of life at all. I see myself as a, what's the word? Hustler is the word, but I don't like that word because the idea of hustling is do anything it takes to make money and be quick and just be on the task. But people use it for bullshit, like selling their old shoes. Like, you know, I made $10, I sold my own, but that's what they say hustling is. My idea of hustling is generating millions of dollars from the sky. But I'm certainly not an entrepreneur. I'm a guy who needs money to live the lifestyle that he wants to live, so I find something. And thinking of returning to fighting soon, and yeah, I run my mouth on Twitter, but that's basically it, hiding out here in Romania. So yeah, that's where I am. And as for the War Room, as you said, the War Room is a private members community I have on the website, Tate.com. We have 400 members now. We're growing stronger by the day. We're doing 5 or 6 events a year. So that's very, very exciting, changing lives for everyone involved. So if you don't know about the War Room, once again, you're missing out. I decided to fight next week, but it's difficult and it's very hard. My heart says yes, my head says no. But I'm a logically driven person. So I always listen to my head. But it's hard when your heart tells you to do the same thing every single day. It's difficult. I'm living in purgatory, stuck in the middle. And sometimes I'm like 100% certain yes, sometimes I'm 100% certain no. It's very, very difficult. And people would say, well, why is it difficult? Well, it's just difficult because fighting is not something you choose to do. Fighting is something you have to do. Anyone who's a professional fighter has to fight. Because fighting is the worst sport in the world. Like there's no, it's the worst career path possible. 99.9% of fighters make no money. You're risking death. You're risking injury. Even if you end up a millionaire, you're spending the large majority of your career broke in some bullshit gym, struggling for no reason. It's hard. It's underappreciated. I mean, it's fine when you win, but eventually you lose and all the couch potatoes laugh. Like it's the most bullshit sport. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why wouldn't you just play football and be a millionaire and put a ball in it? Why would you go through hell for probably no reward at all? And the answer is because you don't have a choice. Because warriors are born. Warriors are not made. Warriors are born. And if you're born a warrior, you have to fight. You just have to fight. People say, why do you fight? It's like, because I have to. So why? It's because I have to. I have to.
It's kind of amazing how something so intangible, emotional, like absolute self-belief can play out so heavily in the tangible world of bricks and mortars and Ferraris and money. But it's the physical and metaphysical that combine. That's what makes life so beautiful, all the things we understand and all the things we don't understand. But often I say to people, what's your dream? And they say, I want to escape the matrix. And I say, but will you? And I see in their eyes the flicker of doubt. They're confused by the question. Andrew, I want to escape the matrix. Will you? They don't know. They have no idea if they will or not. They don't believe if they will or not. They've never thought about that. It's easy to think about what you want. It's difficult to think about what you're actually going to have and do, because then you are accountable for that. Now you have to take action. I want lots of things, but I know which things I'm going to be able to do and which things I'm not going to be able to do. So please understand the matrix operates on different levels. They convince you to not try and escape. If you do want to escape, they convince you can't do it. You must believe in yourself and you must test yourself. You must become so brutally competent that you know there is nothing you cannot achieve. And when you've done those things and you truly believe, and the universe, by some freak accident, decides to place me in the exact place you are, you're walking down nobody's street in a no-name town, and you see Andrew Tate, the top G, and you say, I don't believe it. It's you, it's Andrew Tate. I watch all your videos, I love your stuff. I want to escape the matrix. You should know exactly what to answer when I reply. You know what? When I was younger, I grew up in the south side of Chicago before moving to Goshen, Indiana. I was from a disadvantaged area, the ghetto, you could say. And I used to hear people say, especially my dad's friends, one of them was a gangster, one of them was a pimp, bro, I caught a case. I remember saying to my dad, what does caught a case mean? He goes, it's like when you catch a cold. Sometimes you just catch a cold. You just catch a case. Like, yo, got a case again, I just caught one. Happens. I always thought that was a strange premise. Well, if you do nothing wrong, how can you catch a case? God taught me that. You just catch a case. You wake up, you're a G, you're doing your thing, you're going through life. Women love you, good friends, making a bunch of money, everything's fine. Boom, caught a case. It's like when you go to the grocery store, come back with a sniffle. Happens. So I caught a case, went to jail, Romanian jail. And when I was in jail, I used many methods to make the overall experience more pleasant. But one of the things I did is I repeatedly looked around jail, as desolate and desperate of a situation it was, with the cockroaches, with the lack of food, with the hole in the floor to piss in, with the mentally ill people, with the screaming, with the 3 suicides in the first 2 weeks, with the guards who constantly threw everything all over the floor, with all the garbage we went through. I thought, where would I hate to be more than this? Where would be a worst place to be? And I came up with a bunch of scenarios. There's actually quite a few. You think you'd go to jail, but there's actually a bunch of places you'd rather not be than jail. You wouldn't want to be in a car wreck. Imagine wake up, you're in a car wreck, your leg's gone. That would suck. You wouldn't want to be in Ukraine right now in a trench. That would suck. So I was coming up with a bunch of scenarios. One of the scenarios I came up with, I wouldn't want to be on a submarine. Now we're not going to talk about the Titanic submarine thing, because that's just dumb. Bro, that's stupid. Let me explain to you why that's stupid. I was talking to someone the other day, and she was like, you got loads of money. Would you ever do something like that? I was like, no way. Because I have loads of money, yes, but I grew up disadvantaged. And I think when you grow up disadvantaged, you have this different sense of danger. If you're like a billionaire white boy, you'll go swim with sharks. I've never seen anyone from south side of Chicago say, I want to swim with sharks, ever. You could make them all win the Powerball 200 times in a row, and none of them would ever wake up and go, I'm going to go swim with sharks. Our life is extreme enough. I've seen enough danger. Fuck the sharks. No. Don't want to go anywhere near sharks, and I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. I'll tell you why I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. If my man, Mr. Idiot Professor who got crushed, came to me and said, I built a submarine, all right, and we can go to the bottom of the ocean, okay, and we can explore the Titanic. Say, okay, how do we see the Titanic? Well, through this television screen. Fine. Then why do I have to go? Why can't we just send a sub or send a drone and I watch it from a television screen up here with my bitches? Why the fuck am I getting in a fucking tube to watch it on TV anyway? What? Please make that make sense to me. You're watching on a screen in a tube instead of watching on a screen on the left. Why? And why wasn't there a chain attached to the submarine? So when there's a problem, it's just like, boom, yank it up. I know that must not be possible for some reason, but I don't buy it. Must have been possible. Whole thing's stupid. Anyway, I'm not even talking about that submarine. I'm talking about a normal submarine, a functioning battle nuclear sub, a real sub. I was sitting there with Tristan saying, I bet life on a submarine would be shit. And he goes, yeah, who even joins the Navy nowadays? I was like, bruv, fuck knows. Fuck knows. The age of exploration is over. We can look at Google Maps. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to see. You're not a pirate. What are you doing? You're on a sub. You join the Navy, you go to the submarine. Cool. You're in the submarine now. It's underwater. You're there. You have a job to do. I guess you press some buttons a couple hours a day. You go to the mess hall, you eat. It sounds like jail. With the chance of dying, of course. Probably worse than jail. But I thought, you know what? Life on a submarine may not be that bad. So let me go and do some investigation. So since I've been out of jail, I looked up life on a nuclear sub to see what it's like. And I learned that they have, I think the day has different number of hours in it. I think they have 18 hours in a day. They change it. They get rid of the 24 hours. There's 18 hours in a day. You do 6 hours sleeping, 6 hours work, and 6 hours recreation, something like that. And then most parts of the submarine you never even get to see because it's all classified. So you're a loser. You wake up in your loser bunk. You go to your loser station. You do your loser things. You go eat your loser food, go to the loser gym, back to your loser bunk on repeat. People are doing this voluntarily for a very meager wage. Don't understand it. They're doing this. So I was sitting there going, well, there's no freedom or exploration or fun in that. It's not even like you're on a boat. You can't even wake up in the morning and look out the window and go, oh yeah, wow, just the ocean. Nah, bruv. See nothing. So I was like, that's dumb. So then to highlight how stupid all of it is, when I was watching this documentary, they had a sailor who was talking about his mission. And he felt very proud that he was serving the Navy and he was protecting his country and he was doing such a fantastic job. And he was in such a dangerous part of the world. Interesting. It's like, how do you feel in danger in a submarine? But he was saying, well, it was actually during the Syrian conflict, during the Syrian civil war. I think when Russia just got interested in Syria, the West sent some subs near Syria. Who knows? And he said to me, yeah, we're in a very dangerous part of the world right now. Obviously, there's a lot of nuclear powers and a lot of other countries which have vested interest in this part of the world. So we're particularly on high alert. We're in a very dangerous area. And I was like, I wonder where he is. So I picked up a map. Literally, I paused the video, picked up a map. I looked where Syria is. I looked at like the Med, looked around like Egypt, Red Sea, whatever. I was like, well, I know where he is. By coincidence, like after I clicked on pause, 3 seconds later, after I said he was in a dangerous area, they showed where the location of the sub was. My man was in fucking just off the coast of Croatia. I was like, gee, I've been there on a yacht with women. You're talking about a dangerous area. You had me thinking you were in the middle of a fucking nuclear war zone. The way he said we're in a dangerous area, it's a really dangerous part of the world. There's a lot of countries around right now, and there's a lot of vested interest in this area. My man was literally 200 miles off the coast of Croatia. He was literally exactly where my yacht was. And I sat and I paused. I said, Tristan, look at this shit. When we were on the yacht with all those women and our staff and our big fat cigars, laughing, jumping in and out the water, having a great time, there was some dickhead 100 miles below us in the cold, walking around in a circle of imprisonment between the gym, his shit job, and his bunk bed, convinced that he was in somehow a dangerous part of the world. The psyop required for you to live that life is remarkable. If only he would have got his periscope and looked up and seen me and a bunch of big booty bitches, he might have realized he was getting fucking famoosed. Dumb. So, working on a submarine shit. Then, I tried to expand out from there. What other scenarios would be super shit? But just as I'm about to tell you, I'm remembering something that someone once told me. And someone said to me, Andrew, do you know why they're Matrix attacking you? I said, why? So because you're coming for all of the largest psyops that they use to control the masculine youth. You convince people to not join the army and go die for their forever wars. You convince people to not join the Navy and go in a submarine so they can make endless profit off the back of you. You convince people to not go to university so they can put you in student debt and enslave you because you offer them money with the real world. These are platforms they've spent a long time and a lot of money trying to create, and they use their entire propaganda machine to convince people to adhere to and fall for. You can't just come along and become the most famous man in the world and say, don't go to university and don't join the army. You can't do that. Because if you do that, they're going to put you in jail. And I sat there and thought, that's interesting. And here I am. I just made a Tate speech about how submarines are fucking stupid. Now I'm about to tell you if you join the real world, you'll make more money than you never make in university. But because I understand the limit, I'm not going to tell you the other stupid places I don't want to go and the other stupid jobs I thought of, because basically all of them are in the military. So I'm never wrong about anything ever. I say that, and people go, oh yeah. No, please understand me. I'm never wrong. For the people who've just encountered me or my brand, you may not know this, but the OGs who've been following me for 5 or 6 years, no, I've been right about everything. It was day one of COVID. Everyone was afraid. I knew. Just knew it was bullshit. I just know things. How I know things, that's a good question. I have this instinct. I'm from the streets, and now I'm at the absolute upper echelon of masculine performance, the highest possible echelons of life, from the lowest possible echelons of life. I think I've learned a lot along the way, but even the other people I encounter who have had a similar trajectory, they don't know what I know. I just know things. And the reason I'm saying this is because, as usual, time, my friend, proves me right in the end. And time has proved me right about something else, which I knew from the absolute beginning was complete bullshit. Complete garbage. So today we're going to talk about NFTs. There was a time when very successful, rich people were trying to convince me to spend millions of dollars on a JPEG. And they tried to explain to me that it's on the blockchain and it's one of one and you can see on the blockchain. Who the fuck is checking the blockchain for my JPEG, G? Who cares? 3 million for a Bugatti, fine, drive the Bugatti. 3 million for a JPEG. People can just copy and save the JPEG. No, but my JPEG's the real one. It's on the blockchain. Look on the blockchain. If you go to etherscan.com, bro, what planet are you on? Nobody gives a fuck about Etherscan, checking the blockchain. Even if I proved, after all, that I owned that picture, guess who would care? No one. Only nerds. It was a circle jerk of nerds. And there was all these crypto influencers on Twitter, bruv. These are the worst people in the world, these people. All these crypto influencers. All unimpressive specimens of human. None of them have done anything difficult to actually make money. You know, if you want to make money in the real world, you have to learn skills along the way. If you want to go from $0 up to $10 million a year, you're going to have to learn how to deal with stress. You're going to learn how to deal with people, how to hold meetings, confidence, how to manage staff. You're going to have to learn things. By the time you get there, you're going to be a better person, not just because of the wealth, because wealth amplifies who you are as a man, but because of the lessons you learn along the way. Where if you make a whole bunch of money with crypto, guess what you learned? Nothing. You didn't learn anything. You are still a dork, but now you're a rich dork, which makes you a mega dork. Money doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. So all these crypto influencers, there's a couple of them, I don't want to throw names around. They were all over the page and, oh, this is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Bruv. The fact you think that's worth money shows that you've always been a loser, and now you're just a loser of money. There's no real G on the planet who is spending money on those NFTs. Not one. I'm extremely wealthy, and I could have invested in the most expensive NFT, 3, 4, 5 million, whatever they were, and it wouldn't have even affected my bank balance, and I wouldn't have even cared. And I could have done it just as a, maybe I'll make some money, and I still didn't out of principle, because I refused to sell my soul to the god of geekdom. No. And here we are, 2 years, year and a half, whatever later. Who cares about NFTs? What'd you say? Yes, correct. Nobody. Nobody cares. As usual, I was completely right. Nobody gives a shit. Bro, I saw there was pictures of a rock being sold for like, I don't know, 100 ether. I can't remember the prices. I just remember seeing it thinking, this is absolutely ridiculous. So I hope all of the people who invested in these NFTs lost all their money. I hope you're all desperate and poor. The great thing about people like that losing their money is they never learn any lessons along the way. So let's go back to what I said earlier about the fact that if you make money in the real world, you learn lessons which can be applied to life. So if you make it in the real world, even if you lose it all, you can make it all again, probably easier because you're a better version of yourself who knows new things. Whereas if you make it all with crypto, which is basically gambling, you get lucky. You don't know anything new. And you certainly are not in the position to go and get a real job or work hard because you've once experienced easy money. So you're not going to wake up and think, I'm going to be a hard worker, money's hard to make. I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to be motivated. No, you're not one of them. You just want to win another gamble. And you sit there and go, if I can just pull it off one more time, this time I won't be stupid with the money. If I can just do it this once more, I promise I won't buy NFTs. I won't buy JPEGs. I'll buy real things. I'll buy stuff that matters. I'm sorry, God, just one more time. Let me go on Etherscan, or let me go and Pancake Swap and buy some shitcoin, please. Do a 200x this shitcoin, please. And they just lose everything. Everyone just loses everything. Continuously gamble to oblivion.
Mindset is your key to everything. Absolutely everything. Join the top G's on Patreon.